Some mysteries are forgotten over time, fading into the shadows of history. Others remain, haunting us with questions that defy logic. What if a man arrived from a country that doesn't exist? What if he vanished without a trace, leaving behind a riddle that no one can solve? Welcome to the Unknown Archive, the place where the world's strangest stories come to light. Today, we unravel one of the most perplexing cases of the 20th century. The man from Taured, a traveler who appeared in Japan in 1954, carrying a passport from a nation unknown to our world. Was he a time traveler, a visitor from a parallel dimension, or was it all an elaborate hoax? Buckle up as we dive into one of history's most mind-bending enigmas. The story begins on a warm July day in 1954 at Haneda Airport in Tokyo, Japan. Amidst the bustling travelers arriving from all over the world, customs officers encountered a man who didn't seem out of place at first. He was well-dressed, in a business suit, carrying a briefcase. His appearance was European, and he spoke fluent French as well as Japanese and several other languages. But when he handed over his passport, things took a bizarre turn. The document seemed authentic, complete with official stamps and visa records. Yet, there was one glaring problem. The country of origin was listed as Taured, a nation that simply did not exist. Understandably, Japanese immigration officers were puzzled. They asked the man to indicate his country on a world map. Without hesitation, he pointed to the region where the tiny European Principality of Andorra is located, between France and Spain. But when officials told him that Taured did not exist, the man became visibly agitated. He insisted that his homeland had existed for over 1,000 years, that it was a recognized country, and that something was terribly wrong. His documents, his passport, driver's license, checkbook, were all stamped and marked with institutions that didn't seem to exist, and yet they bore official seals. Authorities were baffled. They suspected espionage or fraud, but no logical explanation fit. So, they decided to detain the man in a nearby hotel for further investigation. 2 armed guards were stationed outside his room to ensure he couldn't leave. The next morning, the mystery deepened. When authorities entered the room to resume questioning, the man was gone. There were no signs of escape, the windows were locked, the door had been guarded all night, and there were no reports of suspicious activity. Even more baffling, all traces of the man's existence vanished along with him. His personal belongings, which had been stored separately for examination, also disappeared without explanation. There was no record of any missing flights, no reports of a stolen passport, and no known identity that matched his description. The hotel staff, confused and unnerved, could only confirm that he had been there, and then, inexplicably, he wasn't. Speculation ran wild. Some suggested the man was a time traveler, accidentally slipping through dimensions before vanishing again. Others proposed the idea of an interdimensional glitch, a momentary overlap of parallel realities where Taured did exist, at least for him. More skeptical minds argued that the entire incident was an elaborate hoax, though no one could explain why or how it would have been orchestrated. Investigators combed through airport security footage, but strangely, no definitive proof of the man's arrival or departure was ever found. The case was quietly filed away, becoming one of Japan's most perplexing unsolved mysteries. Over the years, the legend of the man from Taured grew, spreading through books, conspiracy forums, and paranormal discussions. Was he an unwitting traveler from another timeline? A spy with advanced methods of escape? Or did he simply vanish into the void, leaving behind a story that continues to baffle and intrigue to this day? Even stranger, all of his personal belongings, including his passport and identification, had disappeared along with him. It was as if the man had never existed. Since that fateful day at Haneda Airport, the story of the man from Taured has continued to baffle researchers and theorists alike. How could someone possess official documents from a non-existent country? And more importantly, how could he vanish without a trace from a secured hotel room? Over the years, numerous theories have emerged, each attempting to explain this eerie event. One of the most popular explanations is that the man was an interdimensional traveler, someone who unknowingly slipped through a rift in space-time. In his reality, Taured existed as a sovereign nation, and only upon his arrival in Tokyo did he realize he was trapped in a world where it did not. This theory suggests that such dimensional anomalies might occur more often than we realize, with most cases going unnoticed. Another speculation is that he was a time traveler, possibly from a distant future or an alternate timeline where the borders of Europe had shifted and Taured had become a recognized nation. If true, this would imply that time travel is not only possible but that some individuals may have already experienced or suffered from its unintended consequences. More grounded explanations tie the case to the Cold War era, a time rife with espionage and covert operations. Some believe the man was a spy who had crafted an elaborate but flawed cover identity, perhaps as part of a classified intelligence mission. However, this theory struggles to explain his sudden disappearance from a room that was supposedly under constant surveillance. Skeptics argue that the entire story could be a case of psychological trickery or an urban legend that has been exaggerated over time. No official Japanese government records mention the event, and there are no verifiable sources confirming its authenticity. But even if it were a fabrication, why does the tale persist across decades, continuing to captivate and confound those who hear it? Finally, there is the unsettling possibility of a government cover-up. Could authorities have quietly removed him, wiping his records from existence? If so, what was so dangerous about his presence that it needed to be erased? And if he truly was a man out of place, a wanderer from another world, what happened to him once he was taken away? The mystery remains unsolved, lingering like a shadow over the pages of history. Was the man from Taured simply a myth, or did he glimpse a reality beyond our own, one we may never fully understand? Decades later, the man from Taured remains an enduring enigma. No official records exist, no confirmed witnesses have come forward, and no explanation has been universally accepted. Was this the result of a dimensional slip, or was it merely an urban legend twisted over time? One thing is certain, there are countless mysteries in our world that defy logic. The story of the man from Taured continues to challenge our understanding of reality, making us question just how stable the fabric of our existence really is. What do you think? Was this an interdimensional accident, a Cold War deception, or something else entirely? Let us know in the comments. Thanks for watching The Unknown Archive. Stay curious, stay skeptical, and remember, the strangest mysteries are often hidden in plain sight.